So this is the breathalyzer I built. It's pretty simple. It's basically running on an Arduino Pro Mini, which is a little 3.3 volts, 18 mega 368, I think. And on the side here is the alcohol sensor. This is an MQ3 alcohol sensor. It's pretty common. We got a USB charger port up here. There's a little board that Adafruit Industries makes that charges LiPo batteries over USB, which is pretty cool. And the graphic LCD is 64 by 128 pixels, so that's kind of nice. I had to mill out this little aluminum enclosure I got for everything to fit, and I think it turned out pretty good. So this switch right here, unfortunately I had to add an on-off switch. The original plan was to use this button up here to basically put it in sleep mode. So you never actually turn it off, you would just charge it, and then when you weren't using it, you hold down this button, put it to sleep, because the 18 mega 368 can go into this really low power mode and then wait for an interrupt, and then once the interrupt is triggered, then it will wake back up again. So when it's in sleep mode, it's only consuming like nanoamps, so the battery would last a really long time. Unfortunately, due to problems with the amount of current that this whole circuit draws and the amount that this little charging circuit board can do, I had to install this on-off switch, which basically that means when you charge it, there's no load on the charger. So when you flip it on, it gives you a little splash screen. This is something I made for a friend. And a little warning screen at the beginning, because if you look at any documentation about the alcohol sensor, you'll see that it's not incredibly accurate. So right now it's warming up. The way this thing works, in case you've never seen one, is actually really interesting and really simple. So there's a little, you may not be able to see it. Yeah, you can't see it. There's a little tiny ceramic semiconductor in there, and what happens is it heats up. So there's 6 pins on it, and you'll really only use 4 of them. And 2 of them take 5 volts, and that's just purely used for heat. So the thing heats up, and then you use 1 more pin for essentially the analog out. And as it heats up, you can see the number begin to go down. And what that's measuring is a value from 0 to 200 or 1023. And so when you blow on it and you've got alcohol in your breath, the alcohol hits that sensor and is vaporized and turns into acetic acid. And then the acetic acid changes the resistance of the semiconductor, and that's seen in the output pin. So that's what I'm using to tell. This thing really needs to be calibrated for the individual person, I found, because most people think that it's very simple to make, sort of the type of thing that the police use, and it's actually much more complicated than that. Police use something called a platinum fuel cell, which requires frequent calibration, very expensive. But for $5, it actually is a pretty cool little sensor, and a lot of people sell them. So yeah, you basically got to give it a little while to heat up and sort of stabilize an output value, and then you can blow on it and it'll go up. And so basically the 3 outputs I have here are the raw value from the sensor, and then this little sort of horizontal bar graph showing you what the value is, and then some text that says, it guesses whether or not you're drunk or a little drunk or really drunk, which is really all this thing is good for, is telling you if you're a little drunk or you're really drunk or kind of drunk. Because, like I said, the calibration is really tricky, and you can calculate the blood alcohol level from the sensor value, but unless you do it with this individual person, it's pretty hard to get it really accurate. So anyway, that's a little breathalyzer, pretty simple build. Maybe took me 2 months or something of on and off work with school. So yeah, there it is.